Okay, class, this is the review for your fall semester final exam for Algebra 2. There are 20 questions on your test. The ordering of them could be different, obviously these problems, all the problems on this are not, the same exact problem, but very similar. All right. So follow along. I would recommend trying to do the problem first and then watching this. And this is probably going to be over multiple parts, like part A, part B, part C. All right, because I don't want it to be too long. So here we go. First question, they give you a graph. Here's a function. And they ask you, identify the domain and range of the relation and decide, is it a function? Why or why not? Okay. Well, first of all, the domain D is the x. So as you can see here, the domain starts here at 1. So the domain is 1 is the lowest bound, and it goes all the way up to 10. And that's the domain, because it starts here at 1 and goes to 10. Okay? The range is all the outputs, the y's. And so to find the range, you kind of go along the y-axis, and you see it starts right here at y equals 0 and keeps going up here until we get to 5. So the range would be from 0 to 5. And that's pretty much it. Okay. Now, for 2, I'm going to have to shrink my thing because I'm not giving when I did this, I didn't realize how tight it was. So here we go. If g of x equals this, find g evaluated at -8. You literally just have to go g -8 equals -1/2. X is now -8 minus 5. Okay, half of -8 is the opposite of a negative times a negative is a positive. Sorry, I'm just trying to get the signs right? So it's positive. Half of 8 is 4. So this becomes 4 minus 5. 4 minus 5 equals -1. So g of -8 equal to -1. All right? Not hard. If f of x equals 125 plus 4x, and f of x equals 71, find x. Make sure to state your answer in function notation. Well, what that means, do not get that confused with 2. Notice, 2 had -8 replacing x, which means we had to replace x with -8. What this means is you replace f, this thing, with 71, and then you have to find x. So this is just setting up an equation. You get 71 equals 125 plus 4x. Now it's just a process of solving. It's a simple linear equation. So 71 minus 125 gives you a -54 equals 4x. X equals -54 over 4. And that happens to be -27/2. Or -13.5. All right? I'm going to make this a little bit thicker. I'm thinking 3 is too small. All right. Next question. If you have the graph of f of x equals x squared is transformed to make the graph the opposite of f of x minus 3 plus 5. Find the following in graph h of x. Well, first of all, the transformations. The x minus 3 inside means it's the graph is shifted right 3, The plus 5 on the outside means it's up 5. So this graph is shifted right 3 and up 5. And the negative sign right here, this thing, means that the graph is reflected. And reflected across the x-axis. Okay? Now, it asks for domain and range and vertex if it has one. All right? Which this does. So what you have to realize is you have to know the shape of the parent graph, which is the shape of x squared. Y equals x squared is just a u. It's a parabola where it has a vertex. Okay? So the domain, because it's a polynomial, the domain is all real numbers. And the range is going to be dependent upon where the vertex is sitting, and if it's happy or sad. So let's go ahead and, knowing that it's the graph is shifted right 3 and up 5, right 1. So I would go right 1, 2, 3, up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's the vertex. We also know it's a sad graph because it's negative x squared. So that means we go to the right 1. We go over 1. 1 squared is 1. We go down 1. So there's a dot there. We go to the right 2. 1, 2. 2 squared is 4. And we go down 1, 2, 3, 4. So over 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. We go to the right 3. 1, 2, 3. 3 squared is 9. And we go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All right, now remember, when we do this, that the axis of symmetry is the line that goes straight down the center of the vertex. I mean, in other words, the vertex is contained on the axis of symmetry. All right, again, this is the vertex. Now let's go opposite. Notice it's symmetric on either side. 1, 2, 3. So that's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. There's another point. And your graph is going to be looking like this. Okay. Now, looking at the graph, you can see that the range, which is the y values, if we go along here, you see the graph will keep going down. So the graph is contained on all of these points here until we get to the vertex. So the graph is below the vertex, so the range is all y less than or equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Now, the vertex is just this point here. So the vertex is at 3, comma, 5. And the axis of symmetry is just x equals 3, because these two will always be the same. Okay. Now, question 5. The function f of x equals the absolute value of x plus 5 minus 3 is shifted right 3 and up 4. Write the equation of g of x, the transformed function. So let's think about it. This is a little bit trickier. You have to think about this now. Oh, that's too light. Let's do this one. It is g of x is equal to the absolute value of x plus 5 minus 3. Now what we're going to do is it says write 3. That means write 3. Your x's are lies, so we have to subtract 3 from the inside. Notice you still have the x plus 5 from the original function. And it says up 4, so that means we have to add 4 to the outside of the original f of x. All right, so this turns out to be, g of x equals the absolute value of x plus 2 plus 1. And that is the function of the that's the equation of the transformed function. Okay. Number 6, it says the graph of f of x equals the square root of x is transformed to make the graph of, it couldn't get it to fit in that space, so that's why it's up here. The negative square root of x plus 2 with a plus 3 on the outside. Find the following and graph h of x. Okay. Transformations. The negative sign reflected across the x, the plus 2 inside holding hands with the x shifts the graph left 2, and the plus 3 on the outside shifts the graph up 3. So the transformations is left 2, up 3, and reflected across the x. Okay, axis. All right, so let's go ahead and graph this. And then when we look at the graph, we can see what the domain and range are. So it shifted left 2, 1, 2, and up 3, 1, 2, 3. So there's the starting point. Now remember, you go over to the right 1, square root of 1 is 1, but because it's negative, we go down 1. So we go right 1, down 1. Okay, remember I count by perfect squares. So we go from here, a starting point, to the right, 1, 2, 3, 4. Square root of 4 is 2. And we go down 2. That gets us here. We keep going. I always tell my students, and you guys, always go until you can't, the point goes off the grid. So put as many points down as possible. So we start here. Next perfect square is 9. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Square root of 9 is 3. So we go down 3. Okay, again, I lost it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Square root of 9 is 3. Down 1, 2, 3. And the graph looks like that, to the best of my ability of graphing it. The domain, well, again, the domain is x, so x has a starting point, right? You can see the graph starts right there at -2, so, and it goes to the right, so x is greater than or equal to -2. And the range, notice the graph, the range is the y, and it's all below this point here. So you can see that the y values start at 1, 2, 3, and then goes and keeps going down. So the range of this would be y is less than or equal to 3. And there you go. All right. Question number 7, the graph of the square root of x is vertically stretched by a factor of 5 and shifted down 2 to make the graph of g of x. Find the following for g of x, then graph g of x. The equation. So let's see, it's vertically stretched. That's stretched along the y by 5. So that means This is going to be y equals, you're going to have 5 multiplying it, the square root of x, and then shift it down to, notice we're not shifting it left or right. So down 2 is like that. Now notice, guys, when you're writing these with the square root symbol, make sure that that minus 2 is not underneath the square root, because I read that. In other words, make sure you don't write it like this, because that's underneath the house, and that's shifting the graph right to. You want to shift it down to, so you make sure that number on the outside here that you're subtracting is well outside of the square root symbol. So the domain, well, we see that, let's just go ahead and graph it. I always filling in the rest of it, it's easier once we graph it. So we know that it's on the y-axis because this says it's not shifted left or right, so it's just sitting right here along this axis right here, but it's shifted down 2. So there it is. Now we just count, right? We start here, we go 1 to the right, square root of 1 is 1, but now we're stretching it by a factor of 5. So 1 to the right, up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the next is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is right there. Okay, now the next one is 4 units. So we go to the right, 1, 2, 3, 4. Square root of 4 is 2, but now multiply it, that 2 by 5, and so we have to go to the right, 1, 2, 3, 4. Square root of 4 is 2, multiplied by 5, we go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and we would put it right there, which is at 8. Okay, again, from the starting point, 1, 2, 3, 4, square root of 4 is 2, times 5 is 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And this graph is like this. Okay, so you see it's stretched vertically, all right? The domain, again, you go along the x and you only see the graph begin, even though my graph is bad, it begins right here at x equals 0. So the domain is to the right of that, so x is greater than or equal to 0. The range, go along the y. It's right here at -2, and it's above it. The graph is above that, so this is y is greater than or equal to -2. Okay? I didn't even realize that we have more than just, you have some square roots, you do have some x squareds. Looks like I'm heavy on keeping it as a square root. All right, so here we go. They said write the equation for g of x. The graph of f of x equals square root of x is vertically shrunk by a factor of 3. That means if it's shrunk, that means the constant multiplying the square root is going to be divided by 3. So it's 1/3. Square root shifted right 3 of x minus 3, because that's right, and shifted up 2 plus 2. And that's all you have to do, and that's the graph. All right? Again, this right here is shrunk by a factor of 3. So since they say the word shrunk, you have to divide by 3 to make it smaller. Right 3 is this, x minus 3, inside the house holding hands with x. And up 2 is the plus 2 on the outside of the square root. All right, next question. Says write the equation of a circle. The center for a circle whose center is -5, -4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Negative 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 is right there. Oh. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's right there. That's the center. And a radius 4, which means from that center we go in all 4 directions. 1, 2, 3, 4, we put a dot. We go 1, 2, 3, 4, we put a dot. 1, 2, 3, 4, put a dot, and down 4, 1, put a dot, and then make a connect them with a circle. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now you're going to try to do this nice and easy. Now what's nice about Desmos, it turns the circle, it could have been a cruddy circle, into a nice looking circle. What am I going to look for? The correct center. Please mark it. All right, that's this thing right there. Also, the correct locations at the all these, I guess, points on the compass, I guess. I don't know what to call them. And but that's the graph of this circle. Find the center and radius of the circle with the following equation. X plus 6 quantity squared, y minus 4 quantity squared equals 8. The center, remember, you translate. If the number's holding hands with the variable, like this x plus 6, it's a liar. So the center is going to be at negative 6, comma. Again, if it's holding hands with the variable, it's a liar. So this is y minus 4. That becomes positive 4, and you have that. And that is the center of that circle. The radius happens to be just the square root of 8, because remember, this is all based off of the parent graph of x squared plus y squared equals r squared. So the radius happens to be the square root of 8. You can leave it like that, or some kids might want to go simplify the square root of 8 to be 2 square roots of 2. You don't get extra bonus points. I argue just leave it as the square root of 8. All right? I'm going to create a new video now because I don't want this to be too long because it takes too long.